Welcome back, top performer. If you're not familiar with the RICE scoring model, it's a prioritization framework which scores items according to 4 factors. These factors are reach, impact, confidence, and effort, which form the acronym RICE. It is meant to make better informed decisions, minimize your personal biases, and ultimately help you to work on what is the highest priority and defend those decisions to others, if you need to. Let's walk through the scoring factors. The first factor in determining your RICE score is to get a sense of how many people you estimate your initiative will reach in a given time frame. You have to decide both what reach means in this context and the time frame over which you want to measure it. You can choose any time period. I usually lean into a month or quarterly. Could be weekly, could be annually. Then you will define what reach means to you. This may mean the total number of internal team members it affects. It could mean the number of customers. It could mean number of new customers. Your reach score will be the number you've estimated. If you expect your project will lead to 150 new customers within the next quarter, your reach score is 150. On the other hand, if you estimate your project could reduce work for 1,200 new people in your organization within the next month, and that 30% of them will use it, your reach score is 360. Next, we have impact. Impact can reflect a quantitative goal such as how much money your project might save, or how many hours it will reduce, or how many more widgets you will be able to produce. Even when using a quantitative metric, like how many people will use a solution or product, measuring impact will be difficult because you won't necessarily be able to isolate your new project as a primary reason or even a reason at all for why your customers or users take action. If measuring the impact of a project after you've collected the data will be difficult, you can assume that estimating it beforehand will also be a challenge. I've populated the spreadsheet with some potential parameters. What's key is to ensure you are consistent as you compare projects and that there is enough difference between each. When feasible, I prefer to tie things back to a cost value. No, that's not always possible, but that's my personal preference. Here are some potential impact parameters. Massive, maybe up to $15,000, or maybe it's up to 25 hours. High, maybe up to $10,000, or maybe 20 hours. Medium, maybe up to $5,000 or 1,500 hours. Low, maybe up to $3,000 or 10 hours. And minimal might be up to $1,000 or 5 hours. I prefer being as specific as possible because it helps to remove subjectivity when discussing impact or benefit. However, as an alternative, you could also baseline more broadly with something like massive is 3x, or high equals 2x, or medium equals 1x. Low is 0.5x and minimal is 0.25x. These multiples can work for you as well. Just keep in mind that the impact should be well understood and is key to the selling of the project. Next, we have confidence. The confidence component of your RICE score helps you control for projects in ways you may have data to support one factor of your score, but are relying more on intuition for another factor. For example, if you have data backing up your reach estimate, but your impact score represents more of a gut feeling or anecdotal evidence, your confidence score will help account for this. As we did with impact, you'll find a tiered set of percentages to score confidence. This way, you don't get stuck trying to decide on an exact percentage number between 1 and 100. When determining your confidence score for a given project, your options are 100% equals high confidence, 80% equals medium confidence, 50% equals low confidence. If you arrive at a confidence score below 50%, consider it a moonshot and assume your priorities need to be elsewhere. If you're not familiar with the term moonshot, it is something extravagant and was coined after John F. Kennedy set the goal to put a man on the moon. Hence, a moonshot. Sure, we did it, but at a significant cost and not in a way that has been easily repeatable. Have we ever gone back to the moon? Did we ever really go to the moon?
No.
The moon landing.
Nope.
So we've discussed reach, impact, and confidence. Those represent the numerators in the RICE scoring equation. Effort represents the denominator. In other words, if you think of RICE as a cost-benefit analysis, the other 3 components are all potential benefits, while effort is a single score that represents the costs. Quantifying effort in this model is similar to scoring reach. You simply estimate the total number of resources, product design, engineering, testing, etc., that you need to complete the initiative over a given period of time. This is typically person months, and that's your score. In other words, if you estimate a project will take a total of 3 person months, your effort score will be 3. If it's anything less than 1 month, call it a 0.5. The resulting score measures total impact per time worked, exactly what we'd like to maximize. Once the initial scoring is done, sort your list and reevaluate. Are there projects where the score seems too high or too low? If so, reconsider your estimate and make changes, or accept that your gut instinct may be wrong. Careful to not force it into a category due to your bias. RICE can help you immensely when deciding between hard to compare ideas. It forces you to think about why a project idea will have impact and to be honest about the effort that's needed to achieve it. A few other suggestions. Give it a generic name for now, but If you move ahead with the project, I recommend you involve your boss or your next level boss in helping you to name this project. It gives them a greater sense of ownership as you drive this project forward and makes them more committed to it. The other thing to keep in mind is that if your boss or other influencers already have great projects, then this exercise may not be the best use of time. Meaning, if you approach them and say, I have all these ideas, and I'm really excited about them, well, they may wonder why you're not doing the projects that you already had on your plate. If that's the case, you should probably first target some of those, but perhaps you can use the RICE model to help determine which ones are going to bring the most value. Here are your actions from this section. You of course want to first get all of your ideas in the RICE framework. You'll run that framework and you'll see which ideas are the optimal ideas to pursue based on the highest score. Next, you're going to get feedback from your boss and other key influencers in your network. Either set up a new meeting or use one you already have. Let them know that you have put together some ideas for projects that you think could benefit the organization and that you'd love their POV on. I like to share the RICE model as it shows the thought you've been putting into the effort, and the nature of them challenging some of the assumptions also gets them more bought in as they are helping to refine the model. These conversations should help you refine and narrow down the project. It should also help to get your boss bought in and hopefully excited on these priorities, even if that means letting go of existing priorities or reassigning some of your responsibilities. Remember, the greater the value you add, the higher your perceived return on investment is, and the more your employer is willing to do what it takes to keep you on the team. If you feel stuck coming up with your own idea, reach out to the community. Otherwise, go forth and force multiply. I'll see you at the top. That's it for this lesson. I hope you found it valuable. If so, this is one of the core lessons from my Career Accelerator system. If you want the full course with the workbook, scripts, and bonus tools, you can get access at careeraccelerator.me. Or you can dive into the next lesson here.